Retro Horror back for a final review of the Camp Blood films. The third film in this trilogy. We already covered the first two. The third film was Within the Woods, a 2004-2005, another direct-to-video slasher film. This is, the same plot as the other two. I mean, it's just worse than the other two. But these films have gotten progressively worse. I'm going to get to the scoring in a minute, but the plot, if there is a plot, is you've got a reality TV show group that has decided that Camp Blackwood would be a good place to shoot a reality show in and around all these past killings. And so you got a group of kids that sign up for the reality show, and the producer of the reality show is on a closed circuit monitor camera watching the next 48 hours of these kids. And you can imagine what happens next. They get killed. And a series of really badly scripted, bad graphics. So this was definitely, you would have thought they would have put a little bit more money into this, but it seems like they got cheaper and cheaper and worse as you went on. But having said that, let's get to the scoring system, because that's probably the only interesting thing about this series, and then I can put myself out of my misery. That I will not. I've seen enough Camp Blood. I think there's two others after this that were made, but I'm done with Camp Blood. So let's get to the scoring system. Okay, so 15 seconds into the film, 15 seconds, two campers are necking, and you get a boob shot of a not particularly good-looking set of boobs, but it's a boob shot, so that's a point. Followed up by throat slashing, that's a point. You got a machete slashing, but there's no wounds. Just, you see the guy slashing with the machete, and then they cut to the girl, and they look like they just dribbled some food coloring, a watery food coloring on her body. So there was no visible wounds. So that's a -1. Now this is where it gets interesting. There is one super hot looking girl. She's a curvy brunette in this thing. Oh my gosh. Her name is Jessica, but the actress's name is Stephanie Mathis. And she actually ended up being in, I think she just had a extra part in The Hangover and Get Me to the Greek. But oh my gosh. I mean, if you like curvy, big boob brunettes, man, it made it worth watching. Let me put it to you that way. So she, that's a point right there. Then you lose a point for it. There's a scene where the guy that did the reality show hired someone to play the clown to scare these kids. Well, that person actually fights the real clown, and he proceeds to get his eyeball popped out of his mask, and it was really a cheap effect. So that's actually -1. And then, so you've got just a tragedy of things that go on here after that. Then you've got a scene where they get this girl to strip down. It's a purposeless scene other than to just show some nudity. But it's an ugly model. She's ugly. And she's got boobs the size of acorns, or teacups. So at -1 for the ugly model. Then you got an off-camera killing of the model with teacups. So that's a -1 as well. Then you've got +1 for the blonde in the film takes her clothes off, and she's wearing this corset that looks pretty hot. So I gave that a point. -1 for the whole scene. You're supposed to be in the forest, right? Well, it's obvious the thing is shot probably 500 yards from the Hollywood Hills sign. I mean, it's obvious it's shot in a semi-desert and somehow outside of LA. So -1 for that. It's also shot in broad daylight. Then you've got a pocket knife stabbing. You know, I'll give that a point. It wasn't very well done, but I'll give it a point. You got the best kill was the clown throws a machete and it manages to impale its victim. So that was pretty decent. That was a point. I have to give a point to Jessica, who again, that was Stephanie. What's her name here? Stephanie Mathis. I'm going to give her a point. I'm going to give the movie a point for having her roll down the hill with some up close shots. That was good. There's a machete to the neck, and then you cut to the victim, and it looks like they just splashed a little watery blood on her neck, no wounds or anything. That's -1. They may well not even cut to the body if they're going to do that. I gave it 2 points. I'm being generous. I gave 2 points for them chasing Stephanie Mathis through the hills of LA, and you get to watch her run. That was 2 points. Then you lose a point for seeing where the guy comes in to save Stephanie and he shoots the clown with what sounds like a child's BB gun, is what it sounded like. And then you got lose another point for a really stupid ending where the clown hits an electrical cord. It looked like an electrical cord with his machete, and apparently that electrocutes him. I mean, yeah, this is not a film where we need to worry about me spoiling it. If you watch this third one, you need to be watching it because of Stephanie Mathis, not anything else. And then finally, the sin of all sins. I'm going to give this a -1 point to the whole film for not having. If you're going to have someone as buxom and curvy she looks like a brunette Marilyn Monroe, and you don't have her take her clothes off, that you get minus points for that. So that's a -1. So you total it all up, it's a 0. The film gets a 0, which means it's worse than. I would say it's a 1. It's a 2 out of 10 only because of Stephanie Mathis. And the thing about Stephanie Mathis is she cannot act at all. Oh my gosh! I mean, there's no surprise that she's had these almost uncredited roles in these other films. I don't know what she's doing now, but she probably should look at doing maybe porn because she's a terrible actress. She can't scream. Her screaming there's actually screaming when you're really afraid. If you watch her scream, you're going to appreciate Jamie Lee Curtis and other people even more for their ability to act scared, because this girl cannot scream, and it's painful to watch her. She also cannot cry and act scared. It's painful to watch. It really is. She needs a new career somehow. But she was really great to look at. Anyway, that closes up the painful Camp Blood trilogy. I'm going to file that away and hope that it never comes up again. So I'd encourage you to skip them. Thanks.